10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca online. And while you're there, you can stream us by clicking on the Radio Player Canada app or downloading it and taking us with you and listening to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, you can drop a donation for whatever you're able to do. It is much appreciated. Keeps the lights on and the airwaves open. Keeps Sudbury's longest running campus and community radio station the only one in Sudbury and one of the only ones in Northern Ontario. I think Thunder Bay is the only other city that has a campus or community radio station. And so it's important to keep it going, to keep local voices alive and as long as we can. This particular show might not be able to run for very much longer. And we'll have more on that from Brad Wilder from Wake Up Canada News, talking about the bills that the Canadian government, federal government, are coming out with. Online Harms Act, in particular, looking at taking out anybody who doesn't agree, or just it's so vague of a bill and bureaucracy that they're building that anyone can just be taken off for whatever reason, and they really don't have any pushback, and possibly even put into jail for what could be deemed as hate speech just because you don't particularly agree with somebody else's point of view and that of the federal government, and that's why they can make something like this as a huge barrier between them and the common people, which it usually always happens. It's a cycle that happens throughout history. People are suppressed or repressed, and then they rise up and they have a revolution of some sort, and then they have they overthrow whatever regime is in place, and then they establish a really great society because they know what it's like in order, when they were suppressed and they had a government that basically didn't do what was in the best interest of the people, only did what's in best interest for themselves. And it gets so bad that people rise up anyways, and then they establish a great civilization and laws and whatever, and then little by little things creep in and it gets to that point again, and that's where we're at now. And so we are entering into a really interesting time. So I'm not sure how much longer this show will be able to be on and how much longer I'll be in a position to be able to do this. But anyways, as we can, we'll at least let you know what's going on, like I was just explaining, but don't take my word for it. We will have more on that towards the end of the show. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/SudburyNews, youtube.com/SudburyNews. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. And also found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/SudburyNews and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator, aggregating Sudbury.com and Sudbury Star at the moment. We have to see why the other two, CTV and CBC, are not aggregating at the moment. So I'll have to take some time and figure out that. I'm not a web designer. I'm not an IT person, but I did build the website, and so I have to figure out what's going on with that with my spare time. Anyways, will be found on demand on those two platforms. Make sure to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. Let's dive right in with a little bit of weather, and then we'll come back with your comments, news headlines, and our deep dive into online harms and what it means for Canadians as the federal government wants to help the children, right? They always want to help. Okay, so your Sudbury weather, current conditions observed at the Sudbury airport. It is -1 degree. And let's see here. It is cloudy. There's a yellow warning, rainfall warning. So rainfall could be turning into ice. So be careful out there. You just don't know what you're going to encounter. 30% chance of flurries changing to a 30% chance of drizzle this morning. Risk of freezing drizzle early in the morning. Fog patches dissipating in the morning. Wind becoming 20 kilometers, gusting to 40. High of +2. Wind chill -5 in the morning. Tonight, mainly cloudy. 30% chance of drizzle this evening. Rain beginning near midnight. Amount 5 to 10 millimeters. And then the wind is coming from the south, gusting to 40 late this evening. And then temperature steady near +3 overnight. And then tomorrow, rain changing to snow or rain in the afternoon. Rainfall amount 10 to 20 millimeters. Local snowfall amount 2 centimeters. So this is just messy stuff going on here. And the wind will be gusting up to 50 kilometers per hour. High of 6. Cloudy periods with 30% chance of flurries overnight tomorrow. And then into Saturday, you got 60% chance of flurries. High of -5. -9 with a 60% chance of flurries on Sunday. 40% chance of flurries on Monday with a high of -5. -4 on Tuesday. 30% chance of flurries. Same thing for Wednesday. In terms of chance of flurries, high of -9. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, welcome back, and thanks for sticking around. Good morning, everyone who's joining us here. We got Northern Hillbilly first on YouTube, as usual. Good morning, people. Always first. Yep, you are definitely always first. And we'll have to start getting some kind of awards handed out for our viewers and listeners who are on. Just joking, by the way. But it is cool. And I'm always here too. So we'll all be able to get an award somehow. And Monique, good morning. Sudbury, Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much needed, much appreciated. Vin, good morning to you. The Communist Act, as we were talking about, Bill C9, I believe, and the Online Harms Act and all the bills that the government are putting forward to prevent just everyday Canadians from voicing their opinions is pretty sad. Actually, it's just, yeah, communist, like you said. And Trevor, good morning to you. You got your morning beverage, you got your sword, you got your shield, and you got your Canadian flag. You don't need to say anything else other than that. Good morning to you, and good morning, Marianne. Good morning, everyone from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. Good morning, Judy. And you got Logic here on YouTube. Good morning to you. And Basil, good morning to you. Let's just dive in with a few of the local headlines. I know I had some Sudbury Star newsletter come out, and some of the headlines on there will do for today. The talking about how messy the weather is right off the hop, which is true. Greater Sudbury councillor Bill Leduc, he's out more than $60,000 for failed lawsuits. The Sudbury Star has a poll on that, so if you wanted to head to the Sudbury Star's website, you can take their poll about Bill Leduc's, failed lawsuits and whatever. He's the Ward 11 councillor. And the sub-headline Ward 11 Councillor Bill Leduc sued a critic and his own municipality in controversy over his election expenses. Right? Remember that? So there's more on that from the Sudbury Star, and they have a poll. So he's on the hook for $60,000 in legal fees following failed lawsuits. The lawsuit that was dismissed last July, and he sued resident Anastasia Ryu, as well as the city of Greater Sudbury, for more than $450 million in damages. And the lawsuit stemmed from allegations Ryu made in the 2023 regarding Leduc's campaign expenses. So you can read more on that. Ryu was seeking compensation for about $33,000, and Leduc opposed the amount. However, Boucher, who was the Superior Court Justice, he determined that it was entirely appropriate. And Boucher said Leduc disputed the amount, arguing the costs are unreasonable, alleging double billing and unnecessary disbursements. He submits the proceedings were not complex and understanding of the attention given to Ryu's counsel. He argues that his former counsel caused delays and failed to comply with court-ordered timetables, thus unnecessarily driving up the costs. Oh, look at that. So that's very interesting stuff. You can read more about it, as I said, from the Sudbury Star. And let's get back to some of the headlines. So the accident that we reported on Highway 144 yesterday on the show that happened the night before, unfortunately, there were 2 fatalities in that crash that caused the closing of the highway. There was a Cape-Real resident and a Sudbury resident, and a third person was in hospital with serious injuries. The OPP said in a release they were called around 5:30. Head-on collision involving drivers of a pickup truck and a minivan just south of Forest Ridge Road in Sudbury. Both drivers, a 58-year-old woman from Cape-Real, 53-year-old man from Sudbury, were pronounced dead on the scene. Now, the names were released. I did read them, but for today, we'll just, you know who they are by now, and so our condolences go out to the family, go out to the friends of the individuals, and it's just very sad, and it's very dangerous highway altogether, no matter where you're at. And we need to take more precautions, especially in the winter with the weather, icy road conditions, snow on the roads, no matter what. Make sure you have snow tires. Make sure of all these things. Don't just be distracted while you're driving. You can answer that text afterwards, try and have hands free, all of those things. One little thing could have caused this unfortunate tragedy here, right? We don't know. They're looking for people. If you have dash cam footage of what happened, or if you saw the crash, they want to know from you, so that way they can determine maybe what caused it. So you can contact the OPP. There's another headline: Sudbury daycare worker guilty of professional misconduct. That's another headline you can read on the Sudbury Star this morning. Funding crunch forces GoGive project to cut some services in Sudbury, right? We covered that as well before on the show. They had to cut one program for sure and then pause another one. And then this story on our Facebook page that we shared, the city basically cut out the Auditor General of the city. And kind of, I don't know, the city does things kind of quietly, and much like their change in the garbage program pickup that very few people knew about, and was disastrous in the valley, as far as I know. Okay. And I just want to get to that story, but Facebook wants to pause me here and there and everywhere. So Greater Sudbury. So this was shared from from Kristen O'Neill on the Sudbury and surrounding areas Facebook page the other day. Greater Sudbury closes Auditor General's office. It was a story by Darren McDonald from CTV News. And we no longer have an Auditor General, right? City quietly closed the Auditor General's office on December 31st, laying off Auditor General Ron Foster. The decision was made during budget deliberations, the city said in a news release Tuesday, which was titled Council Modernizes Audit Practices While Maintaining Accountability. Very Orwellian speak. That's called double speak. How can you cut back services but offer more? You know what I mean? That's that whole idea of cutting back but offering more. It's actually impossible. How can you have more accountability if you cut out the Auditor General, whose very purpose is to have accountability? Bob Johnston, good morning. If I can't speak the truth, my friends, I think I'm in trouble. Yes, you definitely would be. And good morning, Bob and Amanda as well. Rise and shine. Sudbury Pat, good morning to you. Just a few morning shout outs as we continue with the story of the Auditor General. Evelyn, good morning to you. Your garbage also was not picked up yesterday in Mark's Day. Well, apparently if you just leave it out, they'll come later in the evening. That's what happened in the valley. Or maybe too many people complained. I have no idea. They're supposed to leave some kind of magnet in the blue box to inform everyone of the changes. I wasn't even informed there was going to be a magnet. Do you look in your blue box all the time to see if someone left you a note? No. Very ineffective way to let the city of Sudbury residences know that there was going to be changes to the garbage pickup. Just incompetence. As far as I'm concerned, if I was in charge of everything like that, I would say, do you think everyone's going to notice that we put a magnet in their blue box without informing them after we picked up their garbage? Probably not. What should we have done instead? Maybe mail out a letter to all the residents and let them know of the change. Or, I don't know, that's probably just the best method. And then using social media on top of that and the magnet to boot. So magnet would have been just one of the things I would have done. So back to them kind of get rid of the Auditor General, saying that they are modernizing their auditing practices while maintaining accountability. So the original, this was on the city's website of the Auditor General's role in the first place, right? The Auditor General reports directly to Greater Sudbury Council and is responsible for assisting council in holding itself and its administrators accountable for the quality of stewardship over public funds and for achievement of value for money in municipal operations. Well, it sounds really cool. You'd think you'd want a position like that to achieve those goals, right? By performing duties as in an independent manner and making reports available to the public, which is us, the Auditor General's office, plays an important role in promoting transparency, accountability, and trust in municipal operations. You'd think that's great. Well, the city says they're going to modernize that, get rid of that position, while they're still able to maintain accountability. How? Well, remember Brian Bigger? That's what his job used to be as the city's Auditor General. And then he became mayor after that. City Council has voted unanimously to align itself, to unite its internal audit structure with the majority of Ontario municipalities, resulting in the closure of the Office of the Auditor General. They really said so. Most Ontario do not have an Auditor General in the municipalities. I wonder why. Do you think most Ontario municipalities are subject to corruption? Do you think there is corruption in most Ontario municipalities? I'll just leave that question to you. And do you think not having an Auditor General helps with maintaining the possibility of having corruption in your municipality? You can answer that question yourself. So why do you think there's a trend of getting rid of Auditor Generals throughout municipalities? I'll let you answer that question. This decision made during budget deliberations last month will save taxpayers nearly $500,000 annually. These savings were reflected in the 2026 budget and supported reduction in the tax levy. The Auditor General's position was created in 2009 and was later made permanent. Former Mayor Brian Bigger was the city's first auditor, as I said, and made headlines in 2012 in an audit that found issues in the city's roads department. Yeah, we won't be finding any more issues anytime soon. Bigger and another auditor, Carolyn Jaudoin, won the 2012 Silver Knighton Award for the audit, handed out by North American Association of Auditors. Then when he became mayor, blah, 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 announcing it was closing the office, the city said was an outlier in maintaining its office, as it was one of only 5 municipalities in the entire province to fund such a role. In addition to audits, Foster's office also handled complaints about the conduct of city staff and council through a wrongdoing hotline. It wasn't immediately clear whether the hotline would continue. I would think not. I would think not. Because it looks like the trend is going more towards less accountability. And that's just it. Financial oversight and accountability remain fully in place, the city says, and a priority for the council. The mayor said, actually. The city will continue to be independently audited every year, as required by law, while saving taxpayers money by moving to an audit model used by most municipalities in Ontario. Yeah, how about we do our own? How about we just get a volunteer auditor who's unbiased, who's totally there to find anomalies. Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. And so why don't we just find someone who's, at the very core, wants to see accountability, wants to see holes in the city, just like Brian Bigger found in 2000, whatever it was, 11 or 12. He got an award for that. He actually found some things going on in the city, Anyways, we extended our sincere thanks to Ron Foster for his 10 years of service, Debbie McIntosh, chair of the audit committee, said in the release. The city has benefited from the advice and work of his office, will provide a firm foundation for our municipality moving forward. Okay, so that's that. Now, speaking of governments, this is municipalities and the trends that were going on. To say that we're going to be more accountable when we're making steps to be less accountable using doublespeak. What about the federal government? What are they doing in terms of handling people that don't agree with them and maybe informing people of the things that they are doing when they're trying to pay off the media to make it less apparent of what they're doing, but then independent media pops up and still informs the public, and they can't really be having that. So what do they do in that case? Well, let's check in with Brad Wilder as my Facebook rebooted. When I had it all queued up for the segment here, and that made no sense whatsoever, but we're going to have it anyways. All we have to do is fast forward a little bit, turn on the volume, and we'll have Brad Wilder from Wake Up Canada News talking about the Online Harms Act, what it means to us, why the government's doing it, and here you go.
This next article was researched and written by one of our many Wake Up Canada News contributing reporters. Canada's digital guillotine, how your words are about to be policed. The first Monday of 2026, it's come and gone, and Ottawa's already sending a clear message that your voice online is no longer yours. Prime Minister Mark Carney and his Liberals are moving faster than most Canadians realize, reviving the Online Harms Act. Yes, that's the same bill that died last year, but now It's back, armed with even bigger budgets, bigger bureaucracies, and bigger ambitions. This isn't about child safety. That's the story they're going to tell you, though, to make it seem harmless. The truth is far darker. The law gives a government commission the power to decide what's harmful and what isn't. It gives platforms the choice to remove anything that might offend regulators or risk fines. In practice, this means anything you post, share, or even joke about could vanish. Your opinion, your commentary, your criticism, your religion, your art, all under the shadow of a $200 million bureaucracy designed to watch, judge, and silence. Now, it doesn't matter if you're careful, if you follow the rules, if you never break a law. This law is so vague on purpose. It's not meant to catch criminals. It's meant to catch thinkers, questioners, people who challenge a narrative, like us, people who refuse to stay silent. Ordinary Canadians like you and me, we could be flagged simply for sharing something a bureaucrat doesn't like. A political cartoon, it could disappear. A video questioning government policy like this one could be taken down. Even a private discussion could be scrutinized. And the platforms are going to comply, because, well, fines are massive, and the government isn't joking. They want control, and the easiest way to get it is to make sure everyone self-censors. Here's how it works. You post, you hesitate, you delete before anyone sees it, just to be safe. That's the plan. That's the real effect. This is how freedom dies quietly, without headlines, without drama, with people convinced, well, they're just being careful. Carney's government is fast-tracking all of this. They're not waiting, not debating, not listening to the alarm bells that have been ringing since the first iteration of bills in 2024. Consultations have been quiet, conversations behind closed doors, decisions made in rooms Canadians can never enter. Yeah, the machinery's being built already, right now. The rules written in shadow, the system designed to sweep every word, every post, every thought under the watchful eye of the state. And make no mistake, this is just the beginning. The law is part of a larger plan, of course. Expanded surveillance powers, AI monitoring, digital oversight, platforms acting as extensions of government judgment. It's all connected. Canada's on the edge of a digital panopticon, where the things you say, think, and share are never private, never safe, and never yours alone. This first Monday of 2026 is more than a date. It's a warning. The government's ready to take action. And if Canadians do not act, we'll wake up one day in a country where free expression is conditional, where speaking out is risky, where silence is survival. And is this the Canada Carney is building? It sure is. Watch your words, especially. Question everything, my friends. Share this everywhere. If you don't, you may find your voice erased and the freedoms you took for granted gone forever. No, this isn't a joke. Thanks for watching Wake Up Canada News. Please like, share, and follow us on any of your favorite socials, including Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and at our website, wakeupcanadanews.com.
That was Brad Wilder. Thank you very much from Wake Up Canada News. Appreciate that reporting. Sounds like, he has a lot of people that are independent news people, independent journalists who write stories, and then he picks them up and does a video segment on it. I really appreciate the model of it. And that aside, I don't have anything else to add to what he just said of what's going on. We either wake up or we don't. It's right at the point right now. It's, what are we going to do? What are people going to do? He might even have a majority government. All he has to do is get one more MP to cross the floor. So he would have illegally, the way he got into being who he was even in the party to begin with was questionable. He took out someone from their, long-standing riding. He just kicked them right out. He said, okay, this is my riding now. And then, he didn't allow most of the people who were card-carrying Liberal members to vote. So there's that. And then he got in. So basically he was installed. So that's questionable how he even got in the first place. Then basically the media went to work because the media is all on board with him and against the opposition. Donald Trump came in and That was all played out in the media as this whole elbows up thing. And it just to see that as theater being played out and seeing Canadians go for it all, as we were talking on the show of, hey guys, look what's going on. Look what's really going on. You know, they were all just kind of asleep zombies going along with whatever they hear on CBC or CTV, the mainstream news. You know, Donald Trump's bad. Carney was a banker who saved Canada in 2008 financial crisis. And he was also the banker in Great Britain. But you never really heard the people coming out saying, this is what he's actually doing. This is what's going on, because you didn't hear it in mainstream news and you got duped. And now there's no deal with the Americans, which he said he was the only one who could get a deal. So now the fruit is coming out. He never got a majority, but he's going to steal a majority, right? It's unfounded what they're doing. There's so many scandals at the top level in our governments. So many scandals, unprecedented scandals. It's just basically they're just turning the key. They're going communist police state, and they're going to have all the tools they need, all the laws in place to do it. It's all a transition that's going on. You won't hear it on mainstream media because they're not paid to say these things. They're not paid to actually find out what's really going on in our country. They're paid to toe the line and say exactly what the government wants them to say, because that's now where their funding's coming from. It's not coming through advertising anymore because the model has changed. Newspapers going out of business because the model has changed. Everything's online. Opening the door for independent media and stuff like that. But they want to continue to operate, but the only way they could was through government funding. And the government's funding you. You can't say anything against them, or you will lose your funding and you lose your job. So why would you report against them, right? So they are able to do whatever they want and get away with it, as long as people continue to hold to the illusion that mainstream media is telling them the truth about what's really going on. It's a model they use to be able to usurp power and take over, and they're doing it, and it's being done, and it's almost done. So good on you for carrying out your play. And people are always people, and they're going to be gullible, and they're going to not be able to be awake and understand what's really going on. And then we're just going to have to live in it. So it is what it is. Now, while we're able to talk about it, we'll talk about it. We won't be here for very much longer, as we know, just from that segment alone. But thanks for being here today, and thanks for being on. We really appreciate you. And we'll be back, at least for tomorrow, same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKL 96.7 FM. Take care, everyone. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.